The Raiders signed son of a former Raiders Hall of Famer. Did Pete Carroll sabotage Chip Kelly? Is the Geno Carroll era over in Las Vegas? And Maxx Crosby addresses the Justin Herbert incident. Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? This your boy Samoa Raider back at it again with yet another video. I'm still out here in Cali. But if you guys do love Raiders content and you're coming across this channel for the very first time, man, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Let's not waste any more time, y'all. First things first, the Raiders have signed wide receiver Brenden Rice to the practice squad. Now, of course, Brenden Rice is son of Raiders Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. Just 23 years old, he was drafted in the 7th round of the 2024 NFL Draft by the Chargers, and he was released in the offseason and worked out for the Patriots and Seahawks this year. Now finding himself here in Sin City in the silver and black, where I do believe that he should have been a long time ago. Now, I know he hasn't amount to what his father was in the NFL, but I believe that, hey, having another Rice in the silver and black is kind of cool to see. Hopefully he can make a name for himself over here in the silver and black, because that would be a really great story. And knowing the Raiders right now and their big need at finding a number one wide receiver, maybe, just maybe, Brenden Rice could be the answer. But I don't think I'm banking on that anytime soon. Now, we got to see him a little bit at practice today, rocking the number 82, so that's pretty cool to see. But my expectations for Brenden on this team isn't really too high. But what do you guys think, Raider Nation? What do you think about Jerry Rice's son, Brenden, signing with the Raiders today? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now let's move on to one of the more critical players on the team right now, and that is Geno Jeffrey Smith. I feel like we've been talking about this dude all season long because there was so much expectation from a lot of Raider fans, including myself, that he would come over here and at least be a suffice quarterback, but we just haven't been able to see that quarterback. What we got over here in Las Vegas was the New York Jets Geno Smith, because he has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL up to right now. I believe he has 14 interceptions total. I mean, who's counting at this point? But recently watching him in this last game against the Chargers, even in a bit of a better offensive showing, he still showed that he wasn't that guy, and I don't believe that he's going to be the guy next season. I would be really surprised if he was still the Raiders quarterback going into 2026. But I also think that he would be surprised himself if he was the Raiders quarterback next season. I know for a fact that Geno sees everything from the Raider Nation, and I know he's fed up with the team, he's fed up with his play, he's fed up with the coaching staff, whatever it may be. But us Raider fans are even more fed up with him for the production that he's been showing on the field, because the Raiders are paying him a lot of money. They're paying him all the big bucks to be over here and be the quarterback, bridge quarterback, to help this team win games, but he just hasn't been doing that. So just as frustrated as Geno is right now, the Raider Nation is 10 times that. And I know we can be ruthless, but from what I've seen from Geno Smith, he was asked about his future and possibly the future of the Raiders, and he simply said that it doesn't matter if he's a Raider or not, he will have a bright future regardless. Are you sure about that?
Do you yourself kind of like think about the future of your future here? Like, where does your mind go when you're at this
My
point?
future is, what God's right for me. I'll focus on the day-to-day and getting better every single day as a player. That's all you can do as an NFL player. You can never look too far ahead or even too far behind. The whole your future thing, I got a bright future. I know that for sure. But, as far as, what I have to do here is lead this team and focus on, today's practice and how we can execute and get better, prepare ourselves to go up against a tough team on Sunday.
Now, credit to him. I think that his days in the silver and black is numbered, but he's keeping positive. I don't know what other teams are going to take a chance on him, but I feel like as a Raider fan, I wouldn't be surprised if Geno Smith went to another team and played much better, because that's just how things pan out for the Raiders. Players leave, they do better. They come over here with some type of history, and they ain't shit. That's just the way the cookie crumbles at this point. And to add on to that, Geno Smith was apparently added to the injury report due to a foot injury. I wonder how he got that foot injury. I'm not gonna lie with you guys. When I seen that play, I was like, what the? Like, it can't get any lower than low right now. At this point, it's comical watching this team, let alone Geno Smith play the quarterback position. Now, he was limited in Wednesday's practice, but all signs were pointing to him being good to go against the Denver Broncos this week. And I know a lot of Raider fans are hoping that he's not good, so we could possibly see Kenny Pickett or even Aiden O'Connell, just to see somebody different out there. But my thing is, hey, we might as well stick with it at this point. I don't care about winning any more games. I just want to see a competitive matchup. And against the Denver Broncos, if we're trying to tank, if we're trying to get that number one pick, I believe Geno Smith is going to do that for us, and that could be the last thing that Geno can do for us, helping this team build for the future. So if he's good to go, you put him in there. Now moving on to his compadre, head coach Pete Carroll. Now Pete Carroll is just as much to blame as everybody else over here, because I don't know what's been going on with this team. I had a lot of hope in Pete Carroll, even at his old age, to come over here and turn things around, but that just hasn't been happening. And the Raiders have been one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NFL so far. A lot of egos going back and forth. You know, his decision to bring his son over here that is underqualified and being an offensive line coordinator, he still has a job over here when Tom McMahon is out the door, when Chip Kelly's out the door. And we heard a lot of things about Chip Kelly. I even made a video on Chip Kelly sabotaging the Raiders in the play calls. We heard a lot of things from Tom Pelissero saying that he was calling the wrong plays, formations, so on and so forth. Whether that was true or not, there was a lot of speculations. Now, more speculations are coming out that Pete Carroll was actually the guy that sabotaged Chip Kelly's offense. And if he was to do it all over again, he wouldn't even come to the Raiders. He wouldn't even sign the deal with the Raiders. And that's all coming from Ian Rappaport.
Debacle, the second coordinator that Pete Carroll has fired this season, the special teams coordinator Tom McMahon, also fired. And talk to people who know this offense very well, people who've studied this offense and played against it. They do not believe that it was Chip Kelly's offense. They believe it was Pete Carroll's offense, specifically the Pete Carroll offense from Seattle 2023. Sounds to me like if Chip Kelly had to do this again, would not have taken this job.
Like, what the hell? I don't even know what to believe at this point anymore. I mean, with the Raiders, you know it's always going to be dysfunctional, but damn, I wouldn't have expected this team to be this bad, especially with veteran, experienced coaches over here. Chip Kelly, who's coming off of a national championship, but this just goes to show that everybody was not on the same page. Your head coach was not on the same page. Your offense coordinator not on the same page. Your GM not on the same page. Your owners, your minority owners, nobody's on the same page over here. And it's just frustrating because we're paying all these guys money to be over here and make this team look at least suffice, at least like an NFL team. But we've looked far from it, which again is frustrating not only for the Raider players, but for the Raider fans that go to all the games, that support this team, that watch this team from home. No matter what, the Raider Nation is always going to support. But it doesn't help when the team isn't doing their job. So that had me thinking about the question of, is the Pete Carroll, Geno Smith era in Las Vegas over? Are they a one and done faction over here in Las Vegas? And my simple answer is yes. I think it's done. I think it's time to move on from Pete Carroll. I think it's time to move on from Geno Smith. And that's crazy because that's coming from a guy that doesn't want to move on from Pete Carroll. But I feel like the only reason why they would want to move on from Pete Carroll is just his timeline, just his age, and knowing how bad the team is. I don't even know if they have a plan moving forward. Heck, this team, 13 weeks in, doesn't even have an identity at this point. And when you don't have an identity and everything's just dysfunctional and your head coach has an ego to the point where he doesn't want to move on from Geno Smith, he doesn't want to fire his son, Brendan Carroll. He doesn't see that the offensive line has been bad, and he picks and chooses who his favorites are on the team. That is all a recipe for disaster, and that starts with the head coach. And the fact that him and John Spytek don't see eye to eye right now, it only makes sense that the Raiders move on from him. Now, I do hope that the Raiders do keep John Spytek. Maybe he picks the next head coach that could, have that same vision moving forward. Then okay. But as far as Geno Smith and Pete Carroll, I don't see them being a part of this team in 2026. So for me, I wanted to look at how I would run this team. What could the Raiders do to turn the ship around, to turn the tables around, and at least put a competitive team out there that could possibly fight for a playoff spot? And a lot of people are thinking that it's out of the realm of possibility. A lot of people are thinking that we got to strip the whole team down, trade all our good players, get more capital in the draft, and just start building from the ground up. But I don't think that we have to. We have the right pieces here. We have some solid cornerstone pieces on this team right now that we could build around and build towards the future. Now, the Raiders are bad. They're a bad team this year. But we have pieces in place. We have the skill players in place to build for the future, and that could turn things around in just one season. And when I say turn things around, that's being around 500, 7, 8, 9 wins, maybe competing for a playoff spot. This is what I would do. You fire, you move on from Pete Carroll. You fire, you move on from Geno Smith, take the loss there. You find a younger coach. Now, I'm not saying super young, but just a younger coach than Pete Carroll that is experienced and has a future that could build with John Spytek and the vision that we have moving forward, whether that be Mike Tomlin, whether you go get one of these coordinators in Clint Kubiak or whoever it may be. Then you go into free agency. You spend all the big bucks on the offensive line. I don't care how much it is. I'd rather spend 60, 70% of that fund on the offensive line. You go get your guards, you go get your right tackles. Maybe we have those players on the team right now with Caleb Rogers and these young guys, but still go out and get veteran offensive linemen on this team that could compete right now, that could take over and just be a solid force blocking for the quarterback and the running back that we have in Ashton Jeanty. Kind of like what we did back when we had Reggie McKenzie and bringing on those big name free agents on the offensive line. That's what I would want to do in free agency. Now, if the Raiders are picking in the top 5, top 3, you get your quarterback. You have to address the quarterback position, whether it's Fernando Mendoza, whether it's Dante Moore, maybe even taking a flyer on Ty Simpson. Those are the 3 quarterbacks that I'm comfortable with getting in the top 5. Now, if you're outside of the top 5 and you're kind of teetering around that 6 to 10 and none of those quarterbacks are available, then you draft the best offensive linemen that you have. And there's some good linemen that you could get in that top 10 pick. You get those guys and maybe draft a quarterback in the second round and then move on from there. But if we do get our quarterback of the future, I'm not looking to start him right away. I still would want the Raiders to get a veteran quarterback that could come over here and start right now. Whether you trade, whether you go get a Kyler Murray, whether you go get anybody else in free agency, you bring in a veteran quarterback that could possibly start right now or just compete with the younger rookie. And if the younger rookie looks better in the offseason and training camp, then you make him the starter. I don't want to just give the starting role to a top quarterback that we draft. Make them earn that spot or at least learn for a year and get everything going until it's their time. Then you surround our coach with coaching staff that are on the same page and have the same vision moving forward with John Spytek, with the owners, and with our head coach, whoever we bring in. And boom, you got yourself a competitive roster moving forward with at least a future and at least some hope, because right now the Raiders have no hope, no future to bank on right now. But I feel like that's all it would take for the Raiders to at least turn things around or at least be competitive. Let me know if you guys agree with me or disagree with me. If there's some other moves that you would rather make, let me know down in the comments below. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about Maxx Crosby and the incident between him and Justin Herbert. You know, when we saw Maxx Crosby straight drop Justin Herbert, I mean, a lot of Raider fans, we were all happy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Max stated later apologizing in the game, but he went on his podcast on The Rush and addressed everything and explained what happened.
Herbert looked at you, made a decision. He knew he was going to yell, and then he had to pay the consequences.
Yeah, they're going to get special treatment when it comes to that type of stuff. If it was a lineman and he flopped like that, they probably wouldn't call it. You know what I mean? But if you're going to talk shit, talk shit. And he, you know, I'm running away. And I hear him. There's nobody around. Like, they singled in the camera like this. There's nobody around. He's screaming in my ear, like, on purpose.
Yes.
And of course, like, yeah, I'm pissed off. And I gave him like a little love tap, and he flopped like crazy. You know, he did a good job. You know, I shouldn't have even reacted in general. So that's on me.
I wouldn't put it out the realm of possibility of Justin Herbert just flopping, you know, quarterbacks being quarterbacks. But, you know, I really love the fact that he did do that, because it just spoke for every single Raider fan that was in the building that was frustrated and wanted to do something. Maxx Crosby took that frustration out on him. And if you're going to yell in somebody's ear, make sure it's not one of those top guys on the defensive side of the ball. You lucky it wasn't Richard Seymour, because he would have decked you on sight. But all that being said, Raider Nation, man, I appreciate everybody that watches the channel, that shows a lot to the channel, hits the like buttons, hit the subscribe buttons, all that and more. I will be at the Denver Broncos game this weekend, so if you guys are going to be there, man, come say what's up to the Uso, man. I appreciate all the support, all the love, man. Hit that like button on your way out, and until the next video, this is your boy, Simone Raider, and your boy is Yow.